Okay, are you new to the SLO system? If you are, this video is for you. It's going to help you check to see if there is an exam for the class that you're teaching, and I'm going to explain to you how to instruct your students to take the test. Before we get started, I want to make a couple important notes, and I'm just going to put them right on the screen. The first note is that the SLO exam is only given in the last part, of the spring and fall semesters. Okay, so this would be important if you have a Flex 1 class. Yes, there could be an SLO exam, but it would not be available. Okay, the SLO exam. If you have a Flex 2 class, yes, because it's in the last part of the semester. If you have a summer class, or in fact, maybe I'll put summer 1 or summer 2, no exam, no SLO exam. All right, so just kind of be aware of that, that it's only offered in the last part of the spring and fall semester. Flex 1, it would not be available. Flex 2, yes. I should add on those, we have new weekend college classes, and if you're teaching a weekend college class, depending on when that class runs, the SLO exam would not be available to the students. Okay, so with that little bit of background, let's jump in a little bit to understand what we're doing. The first thing that you want to do is you want to look at the syllabus that you received from the department or the information that you were given to start the class, because somewhere in that syllabus you should have listed in your syllabus what we call the SLOs. Excuse me. These are the student learning objectives. There should be 5 of them. What we're going to do at the end of the class is we're going to test the students to see if we actually taught them each of these 5 objectives. The way that we're going to assess their knowledge is we're going to ask 3 questions on each one of these objectives. 5 objectives, 3 questions each. That means it's going to be 15 questions. They are all multiple choice. The way that the system is going to evaluate these is it's going to look at the 3 questions related to this first objective. If the student successfully answers 2 of those 3 questions, whichever 2 they are, first, second, third, second, third, whichever 2 questions they are, that would indicate that the student did understand this learning objective. They've mastered it. If not, if they only answer one of those questions correctly, one of those 3 associated with this objective, yeah, they probably didn't understand. Okay, so that's how the system is going to grade it. But for you, in terms of getting your students to take the test, some people say, look, it's 15 multiple choice questions. Let's just make it a 15-point test. Some people say, I'm going to make it part of the exam, and the exam, the rest of the exam is going to be 85 points, and the last part of this is the SLO test, and that's going to be the last 15 points of your exam. So people have all kinds of ways that they incentivize the students to take this test. The most important thing is that you get them to take the test, right? That's really going to be your role in the test giving process. So how do you know if you have an SLO test? You're going to start by logging into the My Southwest system. And I want to point out to you a mistake that's very commonly made, and it's very easy to make, and that is clicking the wrong SLO icon. Here's what I mean. You think there's only 2 choices, there's 4, right? This R, blue R in the background, means that this is the reporting system. You want to make sure you scroll to the bottom and that you find the SLO faculty icon. When you find that faculty icon, you're going to click on it, and you're going to see, hopefully at least the most current semester, and you're going to see the sections where you have tests. Okay? Now, I'm going to come back to this in just a moment, but don't forget this, because I'm going to start by looking up a little higher on this page. And see where it says click to view exam questions for all terms? You need to click that before you do anything else, because what you want to know is what's on the test. Now, as we're waiting for the system to open that, and you can see down in the lower left-hand corner, it says it's waiting. Okay, so here we are. I want to be very clear on something. As faculty, you have an obligation to keep these test questions secret, otherwise they will not adequately assess the student's learning. This is not a reflection of your teaching. It has nothing to do, well, maybe it has something to do with that, but it is not about evaluating you as a teacher. There are other methods that we at the college use to do that. This is about understanding how you can improve the course, and when I say you, all the faculty in the department who teach this course. That's what it's about. How do we improve it? How do we set up a cycle of constant improvement? So that's what we're doing. All right. Here's the next common mistake. We're looking at these SLO objectives, and what we see is accounting, 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 accounting. Well, when we look at accounting, there's a little drop-down box. We need to click on that, and you're going to see all the exams. No matter what department you're in, you could view the questions for absolutely any exam. And so find the course that you're teaching, find the exam for that, and look at the questions. I'm going to go down and find a class that we no longer offer. It's ISDS 2000. It was for business statistics, and this is a real out-of-date copy of this. Once I select the class, I'm going to click View Course Exam. Now you can see for the very first SLO, this is question 1 for that SLO. They're all multiple choice. You can see the questions, you can see the answers. Okay? This will help you make sure that you have emphasized the content of the SLO, and so you kind of understand how it's being tested. Again, this is not something you're going to share with students. Another important note, you as faculty can print this page, you can copy and paste from this page. When the students see the test questions, they may not, because in order to get a successful measure, we need to reuse the questions, from semester to semester. So we do not allow the students to print the test or to copy and paste. When you're finished viewing the questions, down towards the bottom, just click Cancel. Now, you'll notice that we save past versions of the test. You can tell, what semester it was used in. Here's the year. 80 is not actually 80. 80 is just 8, and that indicates the month of the semester. In other words, the semester starting in August. The 1 stands for January. In other words, the semester starting in the spring, right? The spring semester. So you can go back and look at past versions of the test. Sometimes that's important for accreditation reasons. Okay, so I told you that we would look at the exam questions, but I'm going to go back on my breadcrumbs here to my instructor menu. And so again, just as a reminder, I clicked on the correct, remember there's 4 of these, the correct SLO faculty icon. It opened another page here, and I clicked on View Exam Questions. Now, I can go a little further and I can look at my courses, and initially you are probably not going to be the lead faculty. If you are, that means you're responsible for updating the questions on the test, but I can go over here to the section list, and this is a little important. When you click section list, there are 2 links for each course. See those? The first one here where it says list, this is going to tell me in real time their grades. So once somebody takes the test and they click submit, I'm going to see how many they got correct, how many they got incorrect, and there should never be unattempted. Typically, if you see something unattempted, the exam is still in progress, or there's been some kind of system error where they closed the browser. We'll talk about that in a minute, okay? So this is where you would see the scores. You even see how long it took them to take the test. I'm going to go back. Under the CRN, if I click the CRN number, I'm going to see the settings for the test, how long they have to take it, a password for the test. Very important to put a password on it, and I'll explain why in just a moment, but really it's to prevent false starts of the test. I can control the date, the hour, when it starts, the ending. You see all the settings there. If you enter things in there, just make sure you save. In this moment, I'm going to click cancel, and I might do something like that later on. Do be aware the password is very short. I should say that. Also, it is case sensitive. I'll give you a suggestion if you want to avoid any problems with case sensitivity. Just use numbers, right? Okay, and I can put a lot of numbers in there. That's a little different. But anyway, so maybe use numbers. If you do type a word, just make sure you let the students know it is case sensitive. So make sure you communicate to them the correct casing. All right, so that is the SLO test in a nutshell. How do I get my students to take it? You put some points on it, is really primarily what you do. These are instructions that I typically give to my students. And notice I've got this very first instruction bolded. Once you start the exam, it cannot be stopped. Once the question page is viewed, you've started the exam and you must finish it. Only take the exam during the time interval specified by your instructor. Each instructor may have different requirements. Ask your instructor before you begin. Each course SLO exam is timed and graded separately. If you have student enrolled in 5 classes, they may very well have 5 SLO exams. They may very well be graded, scored, timed, whatever. Everything is different, as it is in any class with any test. Exam times may vary. Your answers will be automatically submitted after the time expires. Start the exam only when you have enough time to fully complete it. No restarts, no pauses, no repeats. When I say this, it's important to stress that to the students. You can only take the SLO exam one time, no repeats, because you don't have the power to give them another attempt. I do not have the power to give them another attempt. This is tightly controlled, and the purpose is to eliminate cheating, okay, and having students copy questions. So they have got to be meticulous when they go into this. It has been successful for many years, but you have to emphasize these instructions. Do not close the web browser. Do not disconnect from the internet until the exam is complete. If you do, the exam will be scored as 0. Let me add to this, never use the browser back button. If you open the test, you see the questions, and then you use the browser's back button, you have just disconnected from the test, okay? Your grade is sent to the instructor electronically. You are encouraged to print and retain the page with your score on it as your receipt, but the instructor doesn't need it. Why? Because just as we said it a minute ago, you're going to see the instructor sees the grades in real time right from their computer screen. Okay? Oops, let me go back to these are test instructions. Okay, so here's what the student does. They find that little SLO icon. They click on it. They're going to come up to a page. I've tried to kind of doctor this a little bit over the years. They're going to see, now this student may very well be enrolled in 5 classes, but only 3 of those classes have an SLO test. So they find that test, they click on the course name, and it will begin the test. And you'll see different instructions up there. When it finishes, you will see that it says, yes, thank you. It shows the start time, it shows how many correct answers they got and how many incorrect answers they got. They are not allowed to review the questions. This is a rare time where we do not review those test questions with the students because we need to reuse these questions, and we don't want somebody just writing down the questions and handing them to the students who will take the test later or who, in another class section or the following semester. We need to be able to compare these results across different sections over time. So really, what is it that you have to do as an instructor? Well, you need to know whether or not you have a test associated with the class. I would highly advise you to put some type of password on the test. Once the students have taken the test, you need to look at their scores and give them whatever points you decided on. before they take the test, I would encourage you to give them a copy of these test instructions. And that's really all there is to it. Once you do it once, you're going to find the students really already know how to do it oftentimes, and it's really easy because you're very hands-off in the process other than saying take the test and awarding points for it. So I hope this helps, and we will talk to you later.